I honestly believed our $13,700 family trip was put on hold until I caught Brian and his girlfriend sharing posts from the very villa I had reserved. So I called Mom. She just said, "You work hard, your brother gets to enjoy life. That's just how it is." Brian stood next to her with that smug grin. I didn't say a word back. Instead, I let my lawyer handle it and sent an official notice. No big scene. Just a quiet move they never expected. That villa? I booked it myself, spending weeks searching for the perfect place. Modern kitchen, an infinity pool, just a short walk to the beach. This was supposed to be our first big family vacation in years. $13,700 came right out of my account because, as usual, the plan was, we'll settle up later, which really meant, you pay now and we'll smile for the photos. And I went for it. Because I work hard. I make enough to cover it. Because I grew up believing family always comes first, and being the oldest means you're the one who looks after everyone else. So when Mom called me 2 weeks before we were supposed to leave, saying we'd have to push the trip back, Brian's girlfriend had health problems, and it just wasn't the right moment, I agreed. I canceled my PTO and let the refund deadline pass. It stung. But I kept telling myself it was for the best. Then, on a random Tuesday night, I opened Instagram and there it was. Brian. Shirtless, lounging by the very pool I'd booked. His girlfriend, Sasha, wearing the beach cover-up I'd bought her last Christmas. Same villa. Same dates. Just, forget about me. Life's short, soak up the sun, the caption read. I stared at that screen for a full minute, my sandwich untouched on the plate beside me. My hands trembled as I dialed. It was past 10 at night, but Mom answered like she'd been waiting. "Oh honey," she said. "Let's not make this into drama." I replied, voice cracking. "You said the trip was cancelled," I said. "It was cancelled for you," she said, calm as ever. "Brian's had a tough year. He deserves this." I heard laughter behind her, and then Brian's voice, cocky as always. "Hey, if you work so much you can afford more vacations, right?" And then Mom dropped it, "You work. Your brother enjoys life. That's how it goes." No sorry. No shame. Just acceptance, like it was the obvious truth. Like I was the fool for expecting fairness. I stayed silent. No yelling. No fighting. I just emailed my lawyer. No drama. Just a quiet shift I didn't see coming. Funny thing is, they used to call me the Rock. The reliable one. The calm, steady plan maker. The guy who always stepped up when everyone else bailed. But even rocks crack when you keep pounding on them for years. Let's rewind. Brian's always been the center of attention. Even as a kid, he was chaos wrapped in charm. Failed 3 grades because he's just not academic, they'd say. He crashed Mom's car into the neighbor's fence because he was distracted by a song idea. Borrowed $5,000 to start a crypto channel that lasted 3 weeks. At least he tried. I was the tryhard. I fixed the Wi-Fi, filed Mom's taxes, helped Sasha write her resume. I built my life around deadlines, routines, and a savings account. They called me boring. But when rent was due, guess who got the call? Spoiler, not Brian. When I suggested the family trip, I really thought it could heal something. A rare moment for all of us to be together. I was working 12-hour days, leading 2 tech teams at a big company. Burning out. I wanted waves, wine, and maybe a memory where we all laughed about something besides who forgot to feed the cat. I found the villa through a coworker. Private chef optional. Panoramic ocean views. 2 minutes from the beach. $13,700 for a week. I fronted the money, of course. "Just book it before someone else does," Mom said. "We'll pay you back, baby." That phrase was the family's lullaby. We'll pay you back. Nobody ever did. Brian had 0 cash, but that didn't stop him from hyping up the trip online. Talking about manifesting paradise. Sasha posted Pinterest boards with captions like, "Living like royalty in the Algarve soon." Meanwhile, I juggled the budget like a Tetris master to make it all work. Bought plane tickets. Put down a deposit for the van. Sent everyone the itinerary. 3 weeks before takeoff, Sasha said she was feeling low vibe and needed to postpone. Mom called shortly after. "Sweetheart, with Sasha's health and all the stress Brian's under, we should push the trip back, she said, voice dripping with fake concern. Maybe fall. I was stunned but stayed calm. We'll lose money. Mom sighed dramatically. It's just money. You make plenty. Right? Just money. I canceled my time off, didn't ask for a refund. Just kept my head down, telling myself, next time. That mythical next time where Brian finally gets it together, and I don't have to keep playing parent. Then Tuesday night hit. That cursed Tuesday. I was working late again when a coworker tagged me in an Instagram story. Dude, is this your brother? I clicked. There was Brian, smiling into the camera, tropical drink in hand. Behind him, the infinity pool. My pool. The villa. The exact villa. The stone archway. The lemon tree in the corner. The bamboo chairs I picked from the photos. He panned to Sasha, who blew a kiss to the camera. Vacation mode, thanks to the universe and some very generous vibes. Generous vibes? My chest turned ice cold. I scrolled through their profiles. They'd been there 2 days, posting nonstop. Meals I covered. Rooms I reserved. The whole trip I dreamed up, except they cut me out like I was some bad lighting ruining the shot. Then Brian posted this. Big shout out to my big bro for hooking us up. Sometimes having a responsible sibling really pays off. #family first. That caption hit me like a slap in the face. Like a smug confession. Like flipping me off but saying thanks at the same time. Called Mom. She picked up after a couple rings, sounding cheerful, like she just finished a sangria. Hey honey. I thought the trip was postponed. Pause, she said. Well, it was for you. I blinked, confused. What? I said. Brian's been going through a lot lately, she added, like that explained everything. He needed this. And you're always working, always busy. He's in the villa, I said. The one I paid for. I know, she whispered. But you weren't using it. Brian needed a reset. That's just how it worked out. Then she said it again. You work. Your brother enjoys life. That phrase hit something deep inside me. All those years of trying to be the bigger person. All those birthdays when I sent gifts and heard nothing back. All the holidays Brian showed up late and left early, while I stuck around to do the dishes. I heard laughter in the background. Brian's voice, full of swagger. Yo, tell him to chill. Mom giggled. Stop it, he'll hear you. That's when I realized they weren't embarrassed. They were comfortable. Comfortable stealing from me. Comfortable making fun of me. Comfortable treating me like their personal ATM. I hung up. No yelling. No threats. Just silence. I sat there in the dark for a long time, watching their stories. Seeing my hard-earned money turn into their playground. Then I opened my laptop and searched for every receipt. Every invoice. Cross-checked payment confirmations. Screenshotted texts, emails. Even Sasha's DM where she asked if I could cover her ticket because she was waiting on a PayPal deposit. I put together a full PDF. Dates. Names. Amounts. Then I sent one email. Subject line, unauthorized use of funds. Immediate action required. To my lawyer. Because I was done being the rock. I was the shift they never expected. The silence after that email was surgical. No calls. No texts. Just 48 hours of digital quiet, like the calm before a storm. Then the detonator clicked. A group text from Mom popped up, titled, Family Time. Like this was some casual Sunday brunch invite, not a 3-person financial betrayal. Can we please talk before this goes too far? You're being really dramatic and hurtful. This was supposed to be a vacation, not a lawsuit. Vacation? Is that what we're calling fraud now? I didn't respond. 5 minutes later, Brian jumped in. Brian, bro, come on. You always take things so personally. It's not like we trashed the place. I stared at the screen like it owed me an apology. Trashed the place? You were in my villa. Eating my food. Drinking my wine. Wine I ordered in advance for myself. He didn't even say sorry. Instead, he sent a selfie captioned, sending good vibes. Let's not ruin the family bond over receipts. That's when I knew he didn't think I had the guts to actually go through with it. He still saw me as the guy who picked up the check. The fixer. The cleanup crew. So I took a deep breath and posted my own message. Not in the family chat. On Facebook, where every aunt, cousin, and coworker could see it. To those wondering why I'm not on the Portugal trip I planned and paid for, ask my brother and mom. Apparently, working hard means you get to fund other people's vacations while they block you from the group chat. Full story coming soon. The silence shattered. I got 3 private messages from cousins I hadn't heard from in years. 2 aunts liked the post with that half-sad, half-outraged emoji. Then the phone started ringing. First mom, then mom again. Then Brian. I let them ring. Then my lawyer called. Hi. Just spoke with their attorney. They're willing to pay a reasonable portion if we agree not to pursue fraud charges. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was desperate. Tell him I want full reimbursement. Plus damages. And I want it in writing. Will do. Then I texted Brian directly. You smirked on camera standing in a villa you stole. Hope the likes were worth it, because I'm not the one losing sleep when the notice hits your credit report. No reply. 2 hours later, Sasha messaged me on Instagram. I didn't know it was that serious. I thought you were chill. Brian said you were fine with it. Really sorry if it got messy. She attached a bikini pic with that. No joke. Like cleavage and an apology could wipe away $13,700 in stolen trust. I didn't respond to her either. Instead, I took it up a notch. My lawyer sent a cease and desist for public defamation in case they tried to twist the story. I emailed the villa manager, proof in hand that my card was charged without permission. They froze the deposit refund. Then I called HR. Hi. I need some personal days next month. Thinking it was finally time to use the credit with our legal partner services. Because this wasn't just about a vacation anymore. It was about years, decades, of being seen less as a person and more as a wallet. The next morning, the doorbell rang. I opened it. Mom was standing there, Brian behind her, arms crossed. She didn't bother painting him as a misunderstood prince. We need to talk, she said, walking past me like she still owned the place. I didn't stop her. Brian followed, tossing his keys on my table like this wasn't a financial ambush. Mom turned, hands clasped like this was the family drama of a lifetime. This has gone too far, she said. Lawyers? Public posts? You embarrassed us. You robbed me. Her eyes went wide like I'd just slapped her. We used the villa. We didn't rob you. You told me the trip was cancelled. Then you flew there and laughed about it on Instagram. She raised her voice. It wasn't meant to hurt you. Brian was depressed. Sasha's had a tough year. They needed some joy. I stared at her. At my expense? Brian finally spoke up. You always act like you're better than everyone just because you have money. I stepped closer. I don't act better. I am better. Because I don't steal from my own family. He scoffed. You're blowing this up for clout. You want people to feel sorry for you? I leaned in. You think I care about pity? I want boundaries. I want respect. And I want my money. Mom reached for my arm. Please don't do this to us. I looked at her, calm but firm. I'm not doing this to you. I'm finally doing something for me. Then I walked to the door, opened it, and said, out. She hesitated. Brian didn't. He stormed out, muttering, You'll regret this. I smiled. I already regret paying for that trip. I won't make that mistake again. They left. I closed the door on 30 years of emotional blackmail disguised as family loyalty. That day, everything changed. That day, I chose myself. The next morning, for the first time in years, I woke up feeling something new, peace. Not the empty, temporary silence before the next guilt trip call. Real peace. The kind that settles deep in your bones. The kind you don't realize you've been missing until it shows up. I made coffee, opened my laptop, didn't check my phone once. No calls. No passive-aggressive texts. No messages from Mom or Brian begging me to undo the storm I'd unleashed. I think they finally got it. The guy who used to bend over backwards for them? He was gone. That man was dead. Buried under $13,700 worth of betrayal. And in his place stood someone new. Someone they didn't know how to manipulate. I didn't stop with the legal claim. My lawyer filed for damages. The villa management emailed me back. They confirmed the deposit refund, almost $3,000, was being withheld for unauthorized use and property damage. Turns out Sasha left red wine stains on the guest bedspread. Brian cracked a marble countertop trying to open a wine bottle, like a Viking, according to the caretaker's report. Real classy. Their dream trip was turning into a financial disaster. And I didn't lift a finger to stop it. Let them feel the burn. For the first time, they got a taste of cleaning up their own mess. Meanwhile, I started living. I booked a solo trip to Iceland. A small cottage near a glacier lagoon, with a wood stove and floor-to-ceiling windows. No distractions. No family. Just me, snow, and silence. That first night, wrapped in a blanket, watching the aurora dance overhead, I laughed. Out loud. Alone. And it wasn't bitter. It wasn't hollow. It was freedom. While I was away, Brian posted a cryptic Instagram story. Black screen. White letters. When loyalty dies, so does family. A week later, Sasha shared a crying selfie. Some people only love you when you're useful. Lesson learned. Cue the violins. Back home, people started messaging me privately. Things were unraveling fast. Apparently, Brian's vibes-only lifestyle didn't sit well with mounting legal bills. Creditors called. Rent was overdue. Sasha's Etsy shop tanked. Brian's podcast about healing through sound frequencies got banned on Spotify for spreading misinformation. Mom tried to spin the story. She told my Aunt Lydia I was going through a phase and had overreacted. But Lydia, God bless her, sent me a text. Honey, I've known you since diapers. If you cut them off, they earned it. That message meant more than any apology Mom could have given. But here's the real twist. 3 weeks later, I got a letter. An actual envelope. Handwritten. From Dad. We hadn't spoken in years. He'd been mostly a ghost since the divorce. Inside, just one line. I heard what they did. Proud of you for finally standing up. Don't let them pull you back in. And a check. For $13,700. I didn't cash it. I didn't need the money anymore. But I kept the letter. Sometimes closure isn't about confrontation. Sometimes it's a simple sentence in black ink that says, "You were right all along." As for Brian, last I heard he moved back in with Mom. She sold a few family heirlooms to stay afloat. Started a GoFundMe for his mental health recovery. I didn't donate, but I did forward the link to my lawyer. Subject, I didn't donate. I'd already paid enough. Because I wasn't the bank anymore. I wasn't the fallback plan. I wasn't their punching bag with a paycheck. I was done. Free. Finally living a life I didn't have to apologize for. 3 months later, I walked into my kitchen and didn't flinch when my phone buzzed. It was Mom again. Another voicemail. Another sad sigh at the start. Another, "I don't know why you're doing this," somewhere in the middle. Another desperate attempt to make my boundaries sound like her heartbreak. Deleted. No hesitation. I wasn't interested in her emotional drama anymore. Not after seeing the receipts that showed what her love really cost me. I sat down with my coffee, watching the steam rise in the morning light. And it hit me, I hadn't felt this calm in decades. Not since I was a kid, sneaking out of bed with a flashlight under the covers. Dreaming up things no one ever cared to ask about. Dreams everyone called too much. Or selfish. Dreams I'd buried under layers of guilt and duty. But now, I wasn't buried anymore. I was breathing. Living. Unbothered. It didn't happen overnight, of course. The first few weeks were messy. Quite confusing. I kept waiting for the guilt to crash back in, for that familiar itch to fix everything. But guilt only thrives when you're still chasing approval. And I wasn't. Not from people who saw me as a transaction. Not a human being. Not from a brother who smiled while stealing my future. Not from a mother who shrugged off betrayal with a glass of wine and a view of the beach. So I let it all go. And built something new in its place. I started drawing again, something I hadn't done since college. I posted sketches on a small, no-pressure account. No real plan. No audience. Just art. And wouldn't you know it? A few weeks later, a local gallery reached out. They wanted to feature my work in their fall collection. Called it Boundaries and Betrayals. Said yes. Because for the first time, I was telling my story. On my terms. No edits. No gaslighting. No fake smiles. The night of the gallery opening, I wore the same shoes I'd almost thrown out when Brian said they looked too accountant. People came up to me. Real people. Not family. Not blood. Just strangers who saw the pain in my lines. The anger in the colors. The victory in the silence. And they said one word again and again. Powerful. I smiled. Yeah. I was. Then it happened. A woman stood before one of my rawest pieces. A jagged ink sketch of two people lounging in a villa, while a third, faceless figure stood outside the window holding the bill. She studied it for a long time. Then turned to me. I saw your brother's podcast once. Didn't know the story behind it, she said. Her voice wasn't harsh. Just honest. I nodded. Now you do. She smiled. Good for you. That was all. And it was enough. Later that night I got one last message. From Sasha. Not a DM. Not a selfie. An email. I moved out. Brian said you ruined his life. But I think you just showed him his reflection. I'm sorry for what I was part of. You didn't deserve any of it. You were always the one holding us together. And now that you've let go, maybe it's time the rest of us fall apart. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. Because I wasn't waiting for apologies anymore. I wasn't the bank. The babysitter. The punching bag. I was the man who burned the bridge and never looked back. And if they want to call me cruel for it, let them. Let them shout names from across the ocean of consequences they built. I'll be too busy living. Too busy laughing. Too busy watching the waves roll in at a beach I paid for. This time for myself. Alone. Unburdened. Unforgiven. And completely free.